Undercover. Unrelenting. Unforgettable.
I was impregnated by my father, who was costumed as the devil, and they created this ritual around the idea that they were impregnating me with Satan and I was carrying Satan's child.
I suppose the most vivid memory I have is when, as a 3-year-old, was taken out by the railroad tracks as they murdered a hobo, and then they used certain parts of his body to initiate me. And then I became what they call the bride of Satan.
Satan has come back to haunt us. Lucifer, the devil, the Antichrist, overlord of hell and all demons. This creature who is so real and so frightening to our forefathers, but who withdrew in more enlightened times, has returned with a vengeance. In this final decade of the 20th century, Satan seems to have captured the public imagination in a manner unprecedented in modern times. The young call upon his name and worship at his altar. At a London concert, they make this sign, the sign of the goat, the sign of Satan. Murders are attributed to Satan. In a Texas prison, this young man is serving a life sentence for a brutal stabbing, which he described to the police as a human sacrifice demanded by his master, Satan. But even more disturbing are the numbers of men and women undergoing psychotherapy who believe they have uncovered childhood memories of appalling satanic rituals.
My little naked body would be scooped up and carried around in this circle and then brought to an altar with a man who'd already been nailed to a cross.
It was similar to the crucifixion of Christ, where his side was pierced. And my uncle forced my hand to go into that incision and to feel what was inside there.
I was pushed and shoved off the altar and also forced to cut this child that I had just given birth to and then eat part of its arm and then throw it into the fire alive.
And then I was covered with feces and sewer sludge and ashes of dead babies, and I was put in and out of a furnace. And I screamed and cried, and I believe that where the stuff came off is where I have the scarring on my hands today. It's still being done today. They're not being stopped.
Don't you understand, folks? That's what the devil's about. This is what Satanism is about. This is what ritual abuse is all about.
Broadcaster and author Bob Larson, one of a number of media personalities who promotes these stories of brutal satanic rituals.
Suffered like these people have suffered, and you haven't dealt with these people like I've dealt with them, and the therapists have, to know the pain, to know the horror, and to understand what they're going through. Wake up, America, it's going on, and we've got to do something about it.
If you believe that Satan is a real creature with power over our lives, think of this film as a journey in search of him, his victims, and his followers.
Do you want total war? Turn man into...
But if you believe that Satan is a figment of man's imagination, let these questions guide your journey.
Do you want...
Why do we need to invent a devil? Why should decent men and women create a master of darkness and despair?
Do you want total war?
Why should this be a time for Satan's return?
Unleash the beast in man once more? Yes, you want. Total war! Total war! Total war! Total war!
Our search for the devil began in this club in the Midwest. By far, the largest numbers of overt Satan worshippers are teenagers. And it's in places like this where you'll find them. Runaways and dropouts, either rebelling against or abandoned by Christian parents in a Christian society. To a homeless and jobless kid, Satan can be very real.
Satan is like my power source. That's where my power comes from to overcome everything, and he gives me power to not have no fears of anything. Death, I don't have no fear.
I can talk to him, and sometimes I can just be standing in the middle of a room and just say, this is what I've got going on, what do you think about it? And it's not like I hear him, it's like something just clicks and says, well, this is what you should do in this situation.
So what does Satan give you? I believe that I have a telepathic power of some kind. You know, I can communicate with people through my dreams. And I can astral project. I don't know how I do it, but I can leave my body with my soul. Like, it's my inner body. And it roam around freely while I'm asleep.
How do you worship Satan? Well, I worship him in my own way. It's like, it's called a Norwegian. Okay, I talk to him through a Ouija board. Okay.
I call to the highest peaks of heaven and to the lowest depths of hell. I ask, can anyone hear me?
The attraction of Satanism to teenagers has nothing to do with pleasing Satan. They're looking for acceptance. They're not accepted in their own homes. They do not know how to earn a living. And there aren't any jobs available for them. The majority of the kids that I've represented are looking for a way to belong and willing to do anything to be accepted. Be it street prostitution, be it selling drugs, be it Satanism. They don't care what it is. They want to belong.
Roger Bridgewater is an attorney who defends teenagers accused of committing serious crimes in the name of Satan.
Another thing is that it makes them have a justification for why people don't like them. That it no longer is because I'm Timmy and I'm worthless. It's because you don't like Satan. It's why you don't like me.
In this maximum security prison, one of Roger's clients is now serving time for a brutal killing, which he described to the police as a human sacrifice demanded by his master, Satan. David Trevillo, alias Damien, Dana, Demon Dan, 23 years old, self-styled devil's disciple, a young man who claims a total commitment to Satan.
You have many names and aliases. David, Dana, what would you like me to call you?
Damien.
Why do you choose that name?
Because in Greek it means devil. It's an intriguing name to me.
It's also the name of the boy that was possessed by the demon in the film The Omen.
Correct.
Have you been influenced by these films?
A few of them, like The Omen, they've been inspiring, to say the least.
I want to talk about your beliefs. You're a Satanist. What does that mean?
My beliefs are in power, darkness, having control. Evil makes me feel alive, and you know, when I pray and meditate and think about evil. I mean, that's the only thing that really rekindles my inner fires.
Damien first sought the protection of Satan when he was 12 years old, a throwaway surviving on the streets as a child prostitute and petty thief. When he was 20, this rundown motel became home. Damien shared his life here with Angela, a child throwaway like himself, who provided all his needs, food, rent, drugs, and alcohol, out of her earnings as a prostitute. The couple shared this room, which hasn't been cleared since the night of the murder.
I believe it was done by a demon, but it was like I was watching somebody else from a corner of the room.
But how did Angela die?
Angela died by death of the blade.
She was stabbed?
Yes.
Stabbed how many times?
39 times.
Did she say anything to you as she was dying?
Yeah, she said, I love you, Damien. Run while you got a chance.
What he did was horribly wrong. Angela did not deserve what occurred to her. But there are ways, perhaps, to understand it. When I represent someone like Dana, I want to know why they did what they did. And in that investigation, frequently I go back to find a 12-year-old kid who was rejected. I don't think that he ever saw anything positive in who he was until he found Satanism.
Roger, do you believe that Damien was possessed by one of Satan's demons when he committed murder?
I think Dana saying that he was possessed is his way of evading responsibility. I think that Angela got the anger that he would direct to anyone else whenever his inhibitions left. And most of the people that I've talked to, when he drank, he was angry and he was mean and he was violent.
Sir, are you putting evil on trial by downplaying the devil? Whether you're a Satanism skeptic or a survivor with a story, I want you to call me.
To broadcaster and author Bob Larson, Satan can't be dismissed as the fantasy of a deeply troubled teenager. Satan is a real creature.
Satan, to me, is the personal creature that Christ confronted in the temptation. He is the personal creature described in both the Old and New Testament as being utterly evil, unredeemable, without a scintilla of good, utterly, totally depraved. The second reason I believe in personal evil as embodied in the devil is because I've met him and I don't like him. And when I say I've met him, that is, I have seen the end result of what he does in the lives of people.
Excuse me, wait a minute. You were raped, and then what did you say?
I'm sorry, this is hard.
In a daily broadcast syndicated throughout the United States and Canada, Bob Larson counsels those he believes to be Satan's victims. To comprehend their suffering, we have to look beyond the teenagers and self-declared Satanists and believe in another satanic movement, secret, terrifying, and powerful.
It is entirely possible that this is, beyond the mafia and any other organized criminal activity, the largest network of evil and organized criminal functioning that exists in the world. They intend to infiltrate the justice system, the legislative and executive branches of government, positions of power and authority, and the professions, so that they can take over. After all, they do believe, as the Bible prophesies, that someday their ruler, the Antichrist, will control the entire world.
Stories of the secret satanic network are coming out of therapy centers like this in Huntington Beach, California, where horrifying rituals are described every day.
Even as a child.
Dr. Timothy Moss heads a staff of 18 therapists. Among them, they believe they have discovered over 100 survivors of satanic abuse. For evidence, they rely on the memories of patients like Jolene, who has been diagnosed with a condition called multiple personality disorder.
I'm going to ask you to call Cassandra and have her come out.
On command, Jolene, the adult, reveals a separate teenage personality with terrifying memories of abuse.
You're about 15 years old, aren't you? As best you can, tell us what happened to your baby.
They killed her.
I know it's very difficult to be asked to talk about this again. How did they kill your baby?
First, they made a cut.
Multiple personality disorder is a highly controversial diagnosis. It is said to be a defense mechanism, the mind's way of coping with extreme trauma in early life. According to the theory, when severe abuse occurs, the personality splits in order to protect the conscious mind from painful memories.
It's all right. It's okay.
But the big question is,